Here is an explanation for the answer to final exam question number 99 in Alternative Energy Demystified, 2nd edition. If you have the printed book, you will find this question on page 332. We should expect an evaporative indoor weather modification system to work well in what type of a place? Well, evaporative should give away what type of indoor weather modification system this is. It can do either of two things or both. It can cool the air down because evaporation transfers energy away from whatever medium passes through the evaporating substance. For example, air passing through a wet water filter will be cooled because the water evaporates, and that tends to cool the filter and cool the air, therefore, that passes through it. It will also work as a humidifier. So what you want out of a system like this is either or both of two things. You either want to cool the air down or you want to humidify it. Well, in a hot, wet place such as the Amazon River Basin in Brazil, you would certainly want to cool the air down, but you don't want to humidify it. And evaporation doesn't work very well when the humidity is high anyway. It tends to work best when the humidity is low. That's why, for example, if it's 99 degrees Fahrenheit outside and dry, your sweating will help to cool you more than it will in the event that it's 99 degrees Fahrenheit outside and muggy, humid. Even though you will probably sweat or think you sweat more in the humid environment, it won't transfer heat away from you by evaporation as well. So a hot, wet place, not particularly well. How about a cold, snowy place? Well, if it's snowy, the humidity is probably reasonably high, and if it's already cold, you certainly don't want to chill the air down. Now, you can use a humidifier in a dry environment, and Aspen, I guess, can get rather dry, but it won't work particularly well. It's not particularly necessary when there's a lot of snow and there's a lot of humidity. The best answer to this question is C, a warm, dry place such as Reno, Nevada in the summer, because not only do you want to cool the air down, I've lived in the Reno area and it can get up to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer quite frequently there, but it's extremely dry. So an evaporative indoor weather modification system would work very well in that environment, and that is, in fact, the correct answer. How about a cold, dry place? Well, you don't need to cool the air down any further if it's already cold. If it's dry, you may want to use an evaporative indoor weather modification system as a humidifier, but the best answer, the most applicable answer, perhaps I should have said we should expect an evaporative indoor weather modification system to be most applicable in C, a warm, dry place such as Reno. Certainly not, then the answer is not E. Here's a diagram of an indoor evaporative weather modification system. Generally, this is also sometimes called a swamp cooler. Hot air comes in, passes through a wet filter that gets its water from supply pipes. And this is oftentimes to be found on the roof of the house. So you want to make sure that this water supply pipe and these reservoirs here don't leak. Because if they leak, and particularly if they leak down this duct that goes to the living space, you're going to get a mess. You're going to get a mess. You don't want that. And you also want to keep this system well supplied with water, particularly when it's very hot. That water will disappear from these little reservoirs pretty rapidly. So hot air comes in, passes through these wet filters. A squirrel cage fan blows air. Squirrel cage because it's quite powerful, and it will suck air through these filters and blow it down a duct into the living space. And seeing as the cool air is on the ceiling of your living space, that's what this horizontal line right here is the ceiling of your living space. seeing as the cool air comes in at the top of the room, convection will cause it to sink, and it'll circulate, and it'll keep you nice and cool. And this squirrel cage fan is the only thing that consumes any significant amount of energy in order to accomplish this, so it's a lot cheaper to run than the old type of air conditioner, which tends to remove humidity from the air. And in Reno, Nevada, in the summer, you don't really want to do that. So this is an ideal situation for a desert climate, particularly in the hot summer. And once again, that answer is choice C.